Hey everyone, Sean here from Somm Wine Club, and I have got Somm wine for you. This is the 2017 Domaine Nicolet Vielles Vignes. This is coming from the village of Rasteau in the southern Rhone Valley of France, part of the September 2022 Somm Wine Club box. Now, Rasteau is one of the cru villages of the southern Rhone Valley. The Rhone is divided into various tiers of production, with the cru villages making up the very top of the pyramid. Below that, you have the Côte du Rhône village, which are villages that can append their name to the Côte du Rhône village AOC. Below that, you have just the general Côte du Rhône village appellation, and then the Côte du Rhône itself. Now, all of the villages within the Rhone Valley can use the general Côte du Rhône appellation, but only certain ones that have achieved a certain level of prestige and recognition are allowed to either label themselves as their own village, like Rasteau, other common ones that you'll probably be more familiar with, things like Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Gigondas, Vauqueyras, Tavel, Saint Joseph, and Hermitage in the northern Rhone. Those are all the cru villages. Rasteau was elevated to cru status in 2010, largely because of the hard work of the producers in the region who continually produced great wine, including Domaine Nicolet. So they've been producing wine in Rasteau since the late 19th century. The family has records back to 1875, and in the early 20th century, they started expanding their plantings and increasing the amount of wine that they were producing. The Nicolet family is still in charge of the domain to this day and producing everything by hand in a lutte raisonnée style of agriculture and farming, which basically means they do as little as possible and they basically let the wine be made naturally in the vineyard before turning it into wine itself and packaging it up. So Rasteau uses the same blend as the other famous cru villages of the southern Rhone Valley. So that is the GSM blend, or Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre. So in this case, the Vielles Vignes is 70% Grenache, 20% Syrah with 10% Mourvèdre. This pretty much sees no new oak. This is all done in neutral oak. There's a very small, like 10% of the Syrah does see some slightly newer barrels, but it's not even enough that you would be able to perceive it at any level. It's just there for probably to actually introduce some newer barrels into their program and kind of cycle out some of the older barrels. Not for flavor, not for taste. I love the smell of GSM blends because they balance out the really juicy, ripe red fruit of Grenache with this undertone of spice and pepper and meatiness and a touch of smokiness that you get from Syrah. And then Mourvèdre, even in small amounts, contributes this energetic, gamey, wild character, a little bit like iron or game meat. There's a lot of kind of earthy, savory, dried herbs, tobacco. There's a little bit of like a plummy note here as well. This is not a shy wine. The southern Rhone Valley is a warm climate, and so the grapes are correspondingly ripe and dense and robust. But they have a surprising amount of elegance for sometimes the alcohol that they carry. Great texture. I got a little bit of that dried fruit character comes through on the palate as well. It's got a touch of plum, a touch of prune, a little bit of dried cherry. But there's also some really nice kind of tangy, tart, red fruit character here as well, strawberry and raspberry. And then this, again, underlying smoky, meaty, irony, earthy, kind of mineral rich character that is such a highlight of wines from this region and from this area made from these varieties. As we kind of move into the later part of September, summer's coming to a close, maybe you start thinking about doing slightly richer dishes, doing stews and things like that. As the weather cools down and we get into October and November, this is a fantastic wine to do with like braises or anything that's done slow roasted, slow cooked. It doesn't have a ton of tannin. It's not really about the grip, it's about the weight and the roundness and the intensity of flavor. by all means, squeeze out those few last summer barbecues. This is a fantastic wine for that. But doing like a fantastic chili or something where you have some mealiness from the beans and like corn, late summer corn, fresh tomatoes, all those things you can like kind of make your own melange of flavors. There's so much to play with here. This is totally drinkable, even at its intense kind of richness. Totally drinkable on its own, but will definitely shine if you have a chance to kind of throw it up against something rich and dense. I think I could just stand here and smell this all day. It's not every day that I get to be doing this in a cellar too, so it's kind of more poignant. That's all I have for you today. Thanks very much for watching. Go check out the Grand Nicolet Rasteau Vielles Vignes in the September Somm Wine Club box, and we will see you all next time.